Thank you very much. Chris Cuomo here. That's me. Welcome to NewsNation. Look, what's going on right now, this scandal, I see it differently, okay? Signal gate. As soon as they put a gate on it, all people are looking for is scalps, all right? And you know what's going to happen. One side's going to knuckle up and close ranks. The Republicans do that better than the Democrats. And the other side is going to be looking for scalps, okay? And the media is going to go like this, right? Fan the flames, fan the flames. It's about, for me, I'm looking at this situation to see who's going to be about something bigger than their own advantage. Who's going to be about something that even approximates the idea of better? And who wants to stay stuck in what has gotten us here, which is, which side's worse? Well, they're even worse. The Democrats just sent a letter, Hakeem Jeffries, leader in the House. Get rid of the Secretary of Defense. Would Hakeem Jeffries send this letter if it were a Democrat administration? Would they do it this way if the goal was something other than a takedown? Now, you answer those questions for yourself. You don't need me to do it. But we can all see what actually matters here. And what is on display for you, the way you can use this, is who is about something that even approximates principle. And if so, what is it? So Secretary Hegseth. So far, I think you got to say he's been the most disappointing, right? He thinks attacking the reporter as a MAGA enemy is enough to deflect from everything that you know happened. A reporter was on a thread he should not have been on an app no one should have been on, talking about an attack on Yemen. Okay? They were using Signal, which they should not, certainly not in this context. Okay? And he should have never been there. Now, Hegseth doesn't seem to want to say any of that, but it's the truth. And anyone who says something else than the truth is part of the problem and not about a principle that you should find worthy. Because this is the game on display. Goldberg, the reporter, wrote that Hegseth shared operation details on specific targets, weapons that the U.S. would use, and the timing of the attacks. Okay? Now, you want to pull at the details of that, fine. It doesn't change the main sentence, which is he was on it, and they shouldn't have been on it, and they shouldn't have been talking about it, and he shouldn't have been there. Okay? There's been no proof that what the reporter is reporting is false. Saying he's a lefty, saying he hates MAGA, saying his wife donates to Democrats, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't change it. And here's what does change it. It would be one thing if Hegseth just doesn't believe in any kind of accountability in these kinds of situations. But he is an example of the problem with the game, because right now he is ignoring what he used to say was a matter of principle when it came to the other side. Hillary Clinton, when Hegseth was a big part of the but her emails brigade.
People have gone to jail for 1/100th of what, even 1/1000th of what Hillary Clinton did. Having her maid print out classified documents and give them to her physically, which means they were unsecured outside. I mean, it's all ridiculous. It's all over the top. It's all criminal. Any security professional, military, government, or otherwise, would be fired on the spot for this type of conduct and criminally prosecuted for being so reckless with this kind of information.
See, this is the problem with Fox in general. They're not fair brokers. And I'll show it to you again in another moment. This is why NewsNation is a worthy enterprise. You got to call balls and strikes. Okay? He's a propagandist. That's what he was doing there, exaggerating the email situation so that there could be some kind of bad consequence for the Democrats, because that's all he was about. And yes, you have that on the left, too. That's why I hate both parties. So who's going to be better? Trump promised you he would. He looked at that situation and about how classified information was handled, and he told you this when he was running.
In my administration, I'm going to enforce all laws concerning the protection of classified information. No one will be above the law.
Now what? Was it a real principle? No, it was performative. This is his chance, and I'm not asking for anybody's head. I don't believe in that, okay? As someone who's lived it and watched people I care about live it, you know, you can get your momentary satisfaction for seeing somebody canceled, seeing them lose their job, seeing them lose whatever it is, but I don't know that it makes anything better. How many reports have you seen about the places where bold-faced names were taken down for Me Too, and see how those operations are different now? Nobody does that reporting. It's just about the takedown. This is the same thing. I don't want to see people lose their jobs. I want people to be better, okay? And this is Trump's chance to be about something that's better. But his choice is to be about what makes it worse, and here it is.
The guy's a total sleazebag. The Atlantic is a failed magazine. Does very, very poorly. Nobody gives a damn about it. This gives it a little bit of a shot. And I will tell you this, that they've made up more stories, and they're just a failing magazine. The public understands that. He's a very good man. That man is a very good man right there that you criticize so strongly. He's a very good man, and he will continue to do a good job.
I mean, is he doing anything other than just, which is somewhat noble for Trump, because usually he lets people go down, right? But here he seems to be just protecting his own. But did he just tell you that the story is untrue? No. Did he tell you that they have their facts wrong? No. He's just saying they're not with me, so you should hate them and ignore everything they say. Is that what we want to be about? Would Trump be saying this if it were the Biden administration that was in this situation? Now, what's the good news for Trump? The media can only really be effective in canceling the left. Not Trump, not his people. He is truly the Teflon Don. And he's right about his base. They don't give a rat's ass what the media says if it's not flattering. Not about him, not about his administration. He is right. And his people will be fine as long as they just keep it safe. And the Democrats don't have the numbers to turn this into another set of BS hearings. And I do think they're BS. I don't think Congress can get to the bottom of anything. I really don't. Now, to the extent that the media does matter in this, the right has that covered. They got their own troops on Fox that are explaining what happened like this.
Did you ever try to start a group text? You're adding people and you accidentally add the wrong person. All of a sudden, your Aunt Mary knows all your raunchy plans for the bachelor party. Well, that kind of happened today with the Trump administration. Well, National Security Advisor Mike Waltz accidentally added a reporter to the group text, and not a good reporter. Jeffrey Goldberg from The Atlantic, one of the biggest hoax artists around. Well, he heard some things he probably shouldn't have, but could have been a wee bit of a security breach. But it's not like they homebrewed a server and then bleached it or kept classified documents in their garages next to their Corvette. I'm sure it won't happen again.
Seriously? That's the only place that guy could work. He's not a reporter. He's never been celebrated for anything that he's ever done, except the ratings that anyone gets in that slot. This signal thing is showing you who everyone is. And look, I know it's easy to deflect what I'm saying right now. Oh, you're hating. You can even make cat sounds, like it's a cat bite, right? But it isn't. It's just seeing it for what it is, okay? You flip the R's and the D's. Jesse Waters is never saying that. Fox is on the pound trail. They're just pounding it 24/7. If you just flip it, right? The same way MSNBC is doing it right now. I'm telling you, use it for what's actually of value to you, okay? And it's allowing you to see how people deal with adversity and what they're about in that moment. Now, the Democrats are disappointing me, okay? Someone seems to have told them that the way for them to get back on top is by being mean, that fighting means not fighting with better, but by being worse. Fire everyone. Everyone is bad because of what just happened on Signal. And that's the light touch. You want to see what the Democrats believe is going to get them to a better place? Listen to what a member of Congress just said.
We in these hot-ass Texas streets, honey. Y'all know we got Governor Hot Wheels down there. Come on now. And the only thing hot about him is that he is a hot-ass mess, honey.
The guy's in a wheelchair. Are you kidding me? I mean, is this really what you want to applaud and what you want to celebrate as Democrats? Oh, yeah, but you just heard Jesse Waters. You heard the other ones. Is that who you want to compare yourself to? Look, you can write off criticism from any other of the TV yappers, and that's what I am, okay? I don't have any power. I'm not in office. I'm not here to serve, right? I'm not in a public service. I'm just a yapper. But don't you try to tell me that I don't know what works for Democrats, okay? I was raised by a lion of the left. You can say whatever you want about me. You will never take that away. And Mario Cuomo knew that being harsh or mean, this is a guy who was born in South Jamaica, Queens, fought for everything that he ever came. Everybody thought he was less than. He never went down the road you're going down now. Like somehow his victimization allows him to be cruel about everybody else because that's how you get parity. That's empowerment. No, it's BS. And it doesn't sell in America. This is an opportunity to show that the Trump administration is less than they need to be and that there are better ways to get this job done. Instead, the Democrats are using it to pound on the idea that Trump just sucks and everyone around him is incompetent.
Was there any mention of a target in Yemen?
I don't remember mention of specific targets.
How about anything about timing? Ms. Gabbard.
I don't recall specific timing.
Any mention of any military unit whatsoever? Mr. Ratcliffe.
Not that I recall.
Ms. Gabbard.
Not that I recall.
Now, my problem with this is, can't the senator get the thread? See, I think it's just a gotcha game. I'm not trying to beat up on Senator Kelly. I mean, I think you got to respect him on so many different levels. But this is just a game. This is why I don't believe that Congress can get to the bottom of anything. Okay? Now, you can call me a hater, but the truth is really the opposite. I see this all as a shame because we need better out of these people. I don't recall, I don't recall, I don't recall. That's what a lawyer tells you to do so you don't get yourself stuck saying something you don't want to own. We need the Democrats to be the best version of themselves because if we're going to be stuck in this binary system, we need a balance of ideas and interests. It can't just be about who can point the finger at the other side, you know, most viciously. The need for better, that's what we're being starved of. Nobody wants to step up and set a new standard. Okay, that's why the best that the Trump and the circus can do is to say, yeah, but the Democrats were worse. Remember the Hillary, remember this, remember that, remember this? That's all they can do. And the Democrats can just say, look how bad, look how bad. That's why nothing gets better. And it's not just saying, oh, Elon Musk and his antics. Wait for them to make actual recommendations and then have the fight over the priorities and show you better. Instead of trying to just be mean, be strong about what matters. Like Trump undermining the courts. Why are we talking about Signalgate? Why are the Democrats going all in on that and not the fact that the DOJ just invoked the state secrets privilege over who's on those flights as people they're kicking out of the country? That's when you exercise the state secrets privilege. So you can avoid providing the judge key evidence that he needs to see whether or not Trump disobeyed his orders, and you say you're about following the courts, you're about the Constitution, that's what you focus on. Here's what National Security Advisor Mike Waltz had to say about the leak right before our show.
I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but of all the people out there, somehow this guy who has lied about the president, who has lied to Gold Star families, lied to their attorneys, and he's the one that somehow gets on somebody's contact and then gets sucked into this group. We're going to get to the bottom of it. I just talked to Elon on the way here. We've got the best technical minds looking at how this happened, but I don't text him. He wasn't on my phone, and we're going to figure out how this happened.
So you don't know what staffer is responsible for this right now?
Well, look, a staffer wasn't responsible, and look, I take full responsibility. I built the group. My job is to make sure everything's coordinated.
You don't take any responsibility. Nobody would accept that from their child, okay? You're going after the reporter for winding up on the thread. You better prove he broke into it. And if you can't, then you're just another piece of the BS pie. That's all you are. Hey, thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget, click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.